Yay! Welcome to today's episode of Parenting a Teen. Let me invite Kim onto this place. Sometimes these invitations take forever. But yeah, bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Oh, it's coming up shortly. Hope you're doing well. Um, Hope you've had an amazing week, and the weekend is going to be even more amazing. Uh-huh. Yeah, I love my hat. My new hat. You see, parenting a teen. Um, yeah, so guys, thank you so much for listening. I'm trying to invite Kim into the live. Hey, Kim. Goodness. Hey, I have my I have an event
So
tomorrow.
cute.
Thank you. It's for my event tomorrow. I'm doing a trial run.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What event?
It's like it's a floral couture.
Oh.
Sounds fancy. I mean, it's the first time I'm going. It's a friend of mine who shared it with me. So, yeah, I was like, okay, why not? Then I got there. They said you wear classy, wait, you wear elegant chic with hat. So this is the hat.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Mm.
they are not ready for me tomorrow.
No, they're not. They don't know what they're getting into.
Yeah, how you
Uh-huh.
doing?
Good. A lot of late nights and been making the bracelets. So
Ah, nice. That's pretty.
I have this one that is like super cute and reminds me of Barbie, and most of these are like I only made one of, so when I sell them, they're gone, they're gone. And see if I can get this one up right.
I thought this background thing would also appear on your end. This is so weird. Oh, wow. That one I definitely wear. I love
Isn't
pink.
it cute?
Yeah, I love it.
And then I did another one with just has a butterfly, but it's a lighter,
Ah, wow. Now that's my favorite.
and it has that one with the
Oh,
little
so
things.
pretty. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
This
and
one
then I have these, which I love, which is the little bar
wow.
here, which really just makes it look
Yeah.
even prettier.
Yeah,
So,
I guess you can also wear on your your ankle, right?
yeah, I mean it stretches enough. So
I see people wearing the ankle. Then probably think about for the waist beads. People
now,
love.
see, because waist beads are great and all, but the size variance is so big for
Uh,
different people. Whereas for doing bracelets, about the usual wrist is about 7. So you do like 7 to 7.25, which is what these are made. Um, and so that's the average size.
yeah, waist beads you can do customization when you have your clients. Those you can be like I also can do for you waist beads when you go to the beach. Da-da-da. Yeah. Then they'll be like, yeah,
Good.
well, hello.
Good. It just gets difficult when you customize because
Mm.
there would definitely be a non-refundable deposit on stuff like that. Um,
Huh?
I would definitely have to think about that, and I would have to do a non-refundable deposit on
Yeah.
customized items, just because, I've had people not follow through, and that's a waste of my time. Um,
Yeah.
there's that. There's a lot of things to consider. So we're just going to put these out there, and
See
then
how
from
it goes.
there, go on.
Yeah, I know
So,
a friend. I know a friend who does the same, but it's not similar design, but more African. And most of our client base, like people who ask for, like they send her photo and they're like, I want something like this. You know, the people are. So with time they'll start asking you, oh, I want. Can you make something like this? Yes, you can, but then people have to pay.
yeah,
Even her, she takes it's 50%. I customize it. No, I think she does 70% if it's customized. I do it,
yeah,
then on delivery you pay the remaining amount. Yeah.
right. Right,
Anyway,
because that takes up a lot of resources and time, especially when you're doing that. I'm not a machine, so I can't just pop these out like
yeah.
these cheap ones you can get from the store because they're done in factories. I'm not a factory.
Yeah, true.
So,
Anything handmade is actually more expensive because there's a
yeah.
lot of effort put into that, so it's more expensive. Yeah,
Hmm.
anyway, good to know. All right, how was your week?
Um, just beating, basically.
Yeah,
Beating and getting my resources because, part of this is having to find uh, places where you can get it, your items that are good quality, but at a bulk rate. Trying to find that. So, it's part of business, teaching my son about that. So he's been super cute coming in and um, looking at what I'm doing and will tell me what he thinks about them. So that's been fun. That's been fun. Actually, this week he's been hanging out with me a lot. One day after school, he came in my room and had me hijacked in my room for like 3 hours because I was working, I was beating. And so he knew I wasn't going anywhere. And for over 3 hours, talked to me.
wow.
Started out, with some good questions, about life and whatever. And then the remaining, I'd say, 2.5 hours was about anime.
Ah, wow, but
But he
that's
was in there.
nice.
Yeah. So I found that, since I've been in my, working on this, he'll come and sit with me for some time and chit chat with me while I'm doing it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to complain though.
That's nice. Happy.
Yeah.
Good. That's good. Having
Yeah.
those conversations and showing that hey, I want to talk to you. It's actually a good thing. Happy. Happy days.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how are you, how have you been? How's Aiden doing?
Yeah, Aiden is fine. I always tell Aiden, please make sure you are on Friday, make sure you are here by 7 p.m. because I have a live at 7:30. Then he texting me as like 7:25. Hey, like I told you to make here by 7 p.m. I'm like, oh my God, boy. Anyway, he's preparing to come over. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what holds him on Friday. I need to find out but I think it's because he stays in school for like it's Friday, so teachers probably leave like early. They don't like disturb them, so they're like, we are gone. So I think from there 5-ish, they now start playing with the other kids and they lose track of time.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
But generally, to be honest, my week has been brutal. I think this has been the hardest week um, for a while. It's going to be so emotional because I have to move my wedding date.
Mm,
Because I think like it was so difficult, and this is where I learned the art of acceptance. Like, you have to accept things because I've always been someone who I plan stuff. Like I say, I want to do this at this particular time. I want this to happen at this time. But then, obviously, sometimes it doesn't happen at that time. But I've
right.
had to learn, not even to learn, like to just feel the aspect of acceptance because who when you tell someone, oh, you have to accept the situation as it is, which I've told other people before, but now I think like it took me back to times when it was difficult for me to accept the situation, times when I was like wanting to quit my job, but then it was not the right time. So again, a situation I had to accept. Then it took me back to a time when I was joining high school, and then my dad was robbed, and he got badly injured. So I had to wait for him to, what is it called? To like hospital stuff, and then wait for money. So I joined high school 2 months late.
Oh,
Yeah, you see, and that's the thing, when you go through a situation and it's a difficult situation, most of the time it's because there's still some wounds that need to be healed from your past.
yeah.
So I think during my journaling, that's when I had to now tell myself, the reaction that I'm having is not only for this particular situation, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, it's obviously there's something else that still needs some healing to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, some healing. So anytime there's a reaction that is more than it should be, there's some wounds that, yeah, you need to face, and to heal those wounds. And I think I had to like face them and just go through the whole process, be like, as even you joining high school, it actually happened and you actually joined. I think it was the right time. Quitting your job, the same thing. It eventually it did happen, and it happened, at the right time, and you look back and you're like, oh, that was actually such a perfect time,
Right.
perfect timing, for it.
Afterward, because at the time it's still,
Yeah, afterwards. So the same thing.
because you have to still feel your feelings at the end of the day.
Oh, trust me, someone who feels their feelings, it's me. Was me.
Me too.
I stay in the room, I cry. In fact, may cry out loud. Hey, why? Then I start talking to myself, blah 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 blah. I'm crying, talking to myself. I'm like, it's like talking to yourself, but then you're responding to yourself. Oh, Cecilia, don't worry, it'll happen at the right time. But I don't. Oh my God. So I'm always like that. Like, if I want to feel my feelings, I feel the feelings. And then I go through the process. I don't run away from it. I actually feel it. And
Right.
the whole process, actually difficult process, because I absolutely cannot wait to meet Chris. Absolutely, I love that man so much. And I've not felt this for someone else before. Like him, he's there's something about him, and he gets me. He gets me, and he understands. He understands who I am and where I'm coming from. And I just want to be there for him, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to be there for him. I know he works so hard, for the family and everything. And I'm like, he deserves this. But then I'm like, okay, it will happen at the right time. The right time will come, and it will
Yes.
pass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it will come, it will pass, and then that's life, that's life. And I'll be like, oh my God, yeah. So that has been my week. Yeah,
That's tough.
yeah, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I was trying to look at Aiden's messages, but he's not. Okay, yeah, seen it. Yeah, so that was my week, but definitely all it's good. I'm fine. Tomorrow, excited about the event tomorrow now. Because
Good.
yeah, that's what I'm looking.
Pictures
You
to
know me.
come.
Yeah. Yes, and I
Yeah,
think
of
also
course.
the past, I think the past 1 hour I've been frustrated with the TikTok thing, like so frustrated, like, oh my God, what is going on? And then I realized that the problem could be that my laptop is like the old one. So even
But
some
laptop and desktop are different.
by the
Correct me if
same,
I'm wrong out there. So, a desktop is like a computer you can't take with you.
yeah, yeah,
Laptop you can take with you. So, I think just like the desktop that we are running into some issues with, the apps on these different devices, um,
are
I
different.
think can only do certain things, which is ridiculous.
Which is, you see, I don't know.
It's
I mean,
ridiculous.
a desktop and a laptop are almost the same. It's just that a laptop is something you don't need to be there, right? It's just, it should be the same. in
It, sh-
terms of.
it should be, but things aren't. So I don't know. And I'm not very computer literate.
Yeah.
So, but just from some other things that we've looked at before, and maybe somebody in the comment section can tell me something different, but uh, things that are on, say, an iPhone or an iPad are not available on the desktop. But it's also because you don't have an iPhone, do you? Or do you have an iPhone?
I have an iPhone.
You have an
Uh,
iPhone. So I don't know about Androids or anything else, but I would think they would have a similar, to iPhone. So I would think that those services on those certain apps would be similar, but desktop, laptop, for whatever reason, is not getting the same features on all of the apps, and that's the problem.
yeah, but if they, okay, for Chris, I think Chris's work, Chris's whatever desktop actually worked. He connected to his TikTok, based on what I saw in that StreamYard profile.
Right. So that's a desktop, though. It's not a laptop.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I'm
it's,
saying.
yeah, but it should. I know for a fact it should. It should work the same. It should. The only thing I can tell you this, even my laptop tells me, like when I was trying to download WhatsApp on my laptop, it says I have an older version of my Mac. This is an old Mac. Like I bought it from a friend who wanted to sell it, like because he was buying a newer version. I was like, oh gosh, yeah, let me just get this one. So I got it. It's an old one. Even it tells me like my Mac. Sometimes it tells me like your Mac is the old version. You cannot have WhatsApp on your. So now I have WhatsApp on my browser. And then I cannot have updated app versions. Like if I want to update my Canva app, I can. So now what do I do? What I do is I just use the browser option. So I don't use the apps. So I went and
Hmm.
downloaded the TikTok app, and my TikTok app, the one that now I opened, did not show me the same things that the other one that Chris was using was showing. So I was like, okay, I think the reason why is because my laptop is still uploading the old versions of the apps. I mean, which is fine to be honest. How long did it take to download the, what's it called? The video?
Not long. So, because I had to do that on my iPad. So, but the thing is, I don't have a lot of stuff on memory on there. Probably because it takes like, it shares with my phone. And so I have a lot of stuff. So I think I'm gonna have to delete that video off of my iPad and then upload another one. You know what I'm saying? And then upload that to YouTube. And
Then,
then once it's uploaded, delete it. It's a pain in the butt, but I mean, it didn't take long once it worked. Uh, so
but
that's what I figured out so far.
but then again, Chris France does his streaming from 7 p.m. to like 8:30 p.m. So even if we wanted to use the streaming platform, there's no way it can stream two people at the same time. Because
We'll figure it out.
his thing is like Fridays. His thing is like Fridays, 7 p.m. So yeah, it's the times are problematic. But anyway, you
We'll
know
figure
what?
it out. I mean, even if I can upload it and then from there you do what you need to do to it, we'll figure it out either way.
Okay, all right.
Because I'm still learning uh, to figure out the other stuff to upload it.
It's not
I'm not
hard.
used to going on and doing all this stuff. I mean, it's I mean,
It's not
I grew up
difficult.
in that time where computers weren't a thing. I'm that gap error. So I knew what it was like before having the computers and I knew what it
Yeah.
was like at the beginning of the computers. And most of the things I do is creative and using my hands. And so I'm not on the computer doing things. Working as a hairdresser, for years, over 20 years, and being an artist, I and not a graphic artist at that, like painting, drawing. So I have not had to utilize the computer. So I myself am learning, and
Mm,
there's times my son can tell me more than what
yeah.
I know.
Which is
So
fine. It's fine. I mean, it's more of like, again, accepting that times have changed.
yes.
And
And
be like,
so, and I am, when I went and got my master's degree, the first thing I said
yeah.
was, hey, who in here knows how to do Word, blah, 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 blah. And somebody raised their hand. I was like, you're my new best friend. And she is still very good friend of mine. And God bless her, because she showed me how to do all that stuff. And
Yeah.
uh, God bless her. And so
Oh,
we are still friends to this day.
amazing. Yeah, we live and we learn. But yeah,
Yes.
figure it out.
Yes.
All right.
Have to be adaptable.
We have a choice, really.
No,
Just,
no.
and I think now the biggest thing is to learn how to generate prompts that on AI. It's more of like figuring out how you're going to work with AI to make your work easier. I think that's now the big thing. Yeah, that most people, you're trying to like, okay, so I'm doing this. How can AI make my work easier? How do I start generating stuff using AI?
But then on that same note with children,
Yeah.
how do you then get them to separate and think for themselves and not utilize um,
AI.
using something like AI? You
Guess
know,
what? Let me tell you something. I've used AI for a while, and I know for a fact AI will only be as good as you are. If you cannot generate a really good prompt, you will always get shit results. So you also have to, it needs human intervention. If my level of AI knowledge versus someone else is different. So you find this other person is actually doing like really good stuff. She's mastered how to use AI to the advantage and also to communicate so that people can feel moved by the message. So ultimately, if you yourself are not creative enough, right, and you cannot guide AI to generate messages that can actually be emotive to the audience you're speaking to, at the end of the day, it won't work as well as it's going to work for someone else. So yes, people say yes, these children, they're not going to be thinking. Oh my God, they're going to be thinking. There is no not thinking. Even when I'm using AI, when I'm on Chat GPT, even if I get those responses, if I use the responses as they are, my message does not land. But if I also have some human input into the message and tell AI do this in this way, it produces refined results. So people have to learn prompt. It's like prompt generation. If you're going to use AI, how to do that and how to work together with it so it becomes like your second brain. It becomes your second brain. But ultimately, even if you use AI, you have to fact check. Is it like, is the information
and that's the thing. That's exactly what I'm talking about with kids, because they'll just
yeah.
pop up, believe the first thing they see, and it's not necessarily, I tell my son all the time, when you're searching for a result, keep digging, keep going down and looking. Don't just accept the first thing. You have to use your mind
Yeah.
and go through the actual process.
Yeah, the laziness it can actually kick in, and you're like, okay, so what are you're told to do research, and you just go to AI, then AI generates that for you. But then you need different kind of perspectives to the same. I think that's important. I mean, it's more of like critical thinking.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about, is the critical thinking skills that children need, and especially through this time and age where computers are, the mainstay. We
Yeah.
use them in all aspects of our life,
Mm-hmm.
and just having children not lose that skill, but sharpen, those critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, how to utilize this or like AI in favor. Hi, Flora.
Hi, Flora from Engineering.
So,
I was looking for there's this course I was told to do on prompt engineering or for AI. Um, and I was thinking that I'll have my son do it because it seemed very straightforward. It didn't seem like something you would not understand based on his age. I think I need to look for also something that is similar to teenagers, but actually, I think when for example we children get their assignments, I know my son also uses his phone sometimes when he has his assignments. He's like, oh, let me search, it's asking this question, let me search for it, so he asks AI the question. um, and then even mathematical equation, then he does all those calculations step by step, like step by step. Then I'm like, okay, so now you've seen the response to this. Now do this other question without looking. So he does the same to see if he's
yeah.
mastered exactly what's going on.
And that's what I was been telling my son, it's, because if my son or my nephew come back to me and say, well, I've already tried and I've already looked it up, and I ask them, well, what did you write when you were searching something up? What
Yeah.
were you looking at? How did you ask for the information? That goes back again to those critical thinking skills, which are so important in our children's lives, especially as they're growing and become adults. They have to have those critical thinking skills. So I
Yeah.
can see your point on that. Yes, because you would need that to get far using something like AI.
Yeah,
You
the
can't
thing
just
also,
lean on AI.
yeah, the thing also I avoid to tell my son, I avoid saying is like, oh, you're having it easy. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they're actually having it easy. I mean, it's easier, but I don't think they're having it easy because it also comes with there also new challenges. We are quick to say, "Oh, you guys are having it easier because now you can just go online." Us, we have to go to the library, look after 20 books, and find it. But even them, they have AI comes with new challenges, and also the
Yes.
aspect of like, oh, you guys are having it easy. I normally see people say that. I'm like, no, they have their own challenges, and
I think that's
obviously,
where we as adults have to take a step back and remember that and not always go, oh, when we were kids, we had to blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, back in the day when we were kids, it was difficult because that was the thing to do. You didn't have any other technique or way to do it. You had to do it that way. And, I think we stop and forget that for children today, learning what they're learning and how they're learning, that it is difficult and it is a process for them to learn as well. And we can't dismiss that. We shouldn't dismiss it.
true. And I think their biggest thing, I mean, their biggest problem is distractions, how to be productive. That is going to be the
Mm-hmm.
biggest hurdle for them because even us now, we are struggling with being productive. You spend like 3 hours or even 4 hours a day on your phone, and you look at every time you go to the kitchen, you're carrying your phone. You are in the
I don't leave. I even freak out when I can't find my phone and it's in my hand.
Yeah,
That's bad.
your bathroom, you're carrying your phone. You're working, your phone is on your desk. So when a notification comes, you're like, yeah, let me check this one out. So I think one of the things also it's important that we now start teaching them how to be productive because they are going to very much struggle with that because of the dopamine hit. Their mind
Yes.
they're now like, oh my God, I need to do something. I didn't know that's why we now have the rise of ADHD, where you have people like you cannot pay attention. And I think one of the things I told you about is try having the children meditate
Yeah.
for like 5 minutes, just sit in silence. Even though my son is like, why the hell are we doing this? It's actually extremely boring. And when we are done, he's like, then he goes. Yeah, I think
That
that's
sounds
also,
like my son.
yeah. So I think one of the things to help them with is that just sit with
Just to
them
be in the moment, being present.
and put your
Because
mind.
if you're on so many devices, I know my son has been on, playing a video game, and then will have in his lap his, other portable video game, and then have his phone because he has somebody on FaceTime, and he has all these devices. I'm like, that's so much. Like, I just want to scream. How are you doing it? What? No. Stop. If you're playing one game, don't have another one here while you, but he's like, but I'm doing something different. I'm waiting for, like, say it's a Pokemon game. I said the P word. And I'm shiny hunting. So I got to wait for the noise. So he's waiting for the noise, but playing, but talking,
Yeah,
FaceTiming somebody. And I'm like, that's too much. It's too much.
yeah.
That's over, like simulation overload. And then at night, he's like, I can't sleep. Well, because your mind won't stop. It just, it goes. I think there might be some other things in there too, because my son likes to info dump on me
Mm,
as well, which he will, and he just has to get it out because, and even though I tell him, oh, just a minute, okay, that's enough. Like, he has to say it. And so that's something I've had to learn to be patient with
yeah.
because his brain is just functioning that way.
Yeah, yeah, I see that. I understand. Gosh. But yeah, I think obviously this is the right time to introduce some of these techniques, even though they'll say, "Oh,
Yeah.
you are crazy, you are woo-woo." But if they can learn to take time to meditate for a few minutes,
Or even like Flora was sitting there talking about, which I 100% agree, doing like art and craft, because when you're
yeah,
doing set activities, you can't be 100 million other places because you have to focus on what you're doing. And I actually used to use that when I was working as a therapist, because you can also learn a lot about yourself utilizing art.
yeah,
And it's such a good thing to have, and to just be lost in the moment.
nice, yeah.
Yes.
True. And then the other thing is also, Flora says here, I think for younger one it helps so they don't feel bored. That word bored. Now let's talk about the bored bit because one of the things one of the big misconceptions that we have currently that it's bad to be bored. It's important that we define that with our children very clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, I am bored. So
Yeah.
you want stimulation, you want me to open Netflix so you get stimulated, you want to scroll on your phone so you get stimulated. Yeah, you are bored. So what exactly are you looking for you not to be bored? Because being bored is actually a really good thing. You see,
Yes.
we even me, I've realized so many things. I've made so many mistakes with my son, and I'm like, oh my god, I hope he turns out okay. And
We've
mistake
all been
was like,
there.
yeah, mistake was like constantly wanting to entertain him, so he's not bored. So I'm like, oh, let's turn on the TV. Oh, let's do this. Oh, let's go to the mall to play. Let's go. So he's constantly doing something. But I'm happy if he's playing outside. That is good. Go out, go play.
Right.
But anytime you're in the house watching the TV or on your screen, I'm like, I'm not okay with that. So the aspect of being bored, it's important you define that and let them be okay with being bored, because when you are bored it's actually the best times, because that's when you're present with yourselves and you are in your mind, rather than looking for constant stimulation. So the moment they say they are bored, ask them, why do you feel bored? What do you think will make you not be bored? Then just find out. If they say, oh, I want to go play, oh wow, amazing. But I'm
Like, you
bored.
had to find things to do. I mean,
Yeah.
like Flora says, growing up, she had to be creative when bored, and nobody was there to fix it for her, and she learned crafts, so on. And that's how it was for me and my brother when we were younger. Even though we had each other as siblings, when people were gone for the summer and you had to go outside because your parents like, go outside, do whatever. And I mean, we found silly things to do. When we lived out here in Texas, we had like 10 acres of land. We'd
Yeah.
go out exploring. I don't know how much I let my kids these days, but back then it was different. I think our survival skills out there were a bit different.
Yeah, yeah,
And, we look for arrowheads, we'd, make up games or what have you. That's what boredom did, was forced us to use our creative minds
precisely.
to initiate that uh, stimuli, right?
Mm,
Um, and so I do have, frankly, a problem with children today who say I'm bored. I say, how? You have a phone and so many things at your fingertip. Most people have like TVs and other, like, there's so much. How are you bored?
yeah.
How?
And
Find
also,
something to do.
yeah, okay. Also, the other thing is, you see, if Flora probably at when the time she was growing, she had a phone, I don't think she would have done the crafts of painting, drawing, make doll dresses, because now she's actually such a good she makes dresses and she does it so well. I don't think that's something she would have come up with if she would get bored and the phone would be there for her to scroll. She was forced now to
Mhm.
find other things. The same thing we were forced. You were forced to go do something else, not watch TV, not scroll on your phone, which is actually the biggest problem that our children are having right now. If they
And
are
part of
bored,
those critical thinking skills too, learning how to problem solve
if they are
without having
bored,
to look stuff up first.
yeah, if they are bored, let them be bored, but not go to the TV, or they'll figure it out. Kids have a way of figuring it out without having the screens, without having the screens, and just telling them, "Oh, you are bored," and then you'll find just your kid with, I don't know, or they just do some crazy stuff in the house, and you find them they're just starting entertaining themselves. But the fact that we are saying, oh, you are bored, then you give your child your iPad and they're like 5 for them to start scrolling. I think that's the biggest thing that we need to start avoiding.
Now,
And
I
I used
have,
to do that. I used to do that.
okay, so I have, okay, to no fault of my own, my father had bought my son an iPad before he's like right before his first birthday.
Wow.
Okay, now let me say, my child was supervised. He didn't have it 24/7. And what we had on there was learning apps. And that's what he did. He did not watch TV or videos or free range. I sat there with him and we did it together. So it was all learning apps, ABCs, one, two, threes, colors, figuring out shapes, and that's what we did. And it was
Yeah.
all supervised. So I did utilize that for that purpose. But he did not walk around with an iPad in his hand, and he did not utilize it 24/7 at all. My son had a very active imagination since he was like 10 months old. And he was always, he could never sit still. Even if his cartoons were on, he was busy doing stuff. And I have the pictures and the receipts to prove it. And I show him to him and he rolls his eyes at me. I'm like, but you were so cute. You were a ninja that day. Or you were, he
Yeah.
had this one piece Batman pajama on with a cowboy hat and this laser tag gun, and was going out and doing things. He was a doctor another day pretending to do things. So, like, I had no problem because he was so active and
Yeah.
he didn't just sit in
Yeah.
front of a TV or anything. He never did that. He sits more now, honestly,
Yeah. Because
than he
that's the
has in
thing.
his whole life. And so, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
the thing is this, Kim. There's research that says that your kid should not be exposed to screen before the age of 3 years. There's research which I'll share with you. I mean, um, because
Okay,
their
but remind
future,
you that was back in 2012.
the thing,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
the thing is, some of these things, some things you don't have, really don't have so much control over, and also the aspect is when you know something, that's when you know, when you're aware of something, that's when you're like, okay, maybe no, maybe this is not the right way to go about it, blah blah blah. Anyway, ultimately, kids are better off without the screens. As you can see, even your son would actually show you, you know what, I don't need this screen, I need to be doing other stuff. They actually prefer that. But we know of parents who would
Yeah, well, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and be like, take
I,
this, take
I've
this.
actually seen those that use it as a babysitter, and
Yeah.
that's a problem. Um, I do. My son does not have. He's 13. He has no social medias. I've talked about this before. He has the Book of the Face. I can't say that on here, but he doesn't get on there. But he only has it because one of the things we have required to have sign up through there, and so he doesn't use it. He is on the Tube of the U, and but he looks up tutorials, and he's been doing a lot of good stuff with his artwork, because he's really been getting into art for the last year and a half.
Yeah. It was,
And so he's been looking up some tutorials because what does mom know, who graduated with a degree in art? God forbid I know anything.
yeah.
So he's been looking stuff up there, and a lot of times I think he's maybe playing video games. He's not. He's in there actually doing art. So I
Yeah.
am okay with that. But just to sit there and not be in your child's life, and to just have it as an interaction where that's all your child's interacting with. No, they need parental interaction as much as pure interaction in
Yeah.
life. In life, pure
Absolutely.
interaction.
Absolutely.
So, which as homeschooled, that's what I'm trying to work on with my son, is the in life social interaction.
Yeah,
So, right.
people skills also very important as a mechanism for babysitting. Yeah, I've seen that. Like, you leave your child home with the nanny. I've seen this, and the nanny would just put the child in front of the TV, because even them they want to watch, or they give the child their phone so that the child doesn't disturb them. So the child is like this on the phone throughout the time. Like, your child who's like 3 years old has been on the phone more than you. By the time you get home,
Yeah.
you probably spend like 4 or 5 hours on the phone. I'm telling you that it's absolutely crazy. Things are not so good.
No.
Yeah, poor baby
No.
is the right thing. Things
You
are
you
not.
need and you need to have those interactions. I mean, even here, I've been, because I've had business stuff I've been doing, so I haven't had the time. But I usually try to play physical, like board games with the boys.
Yeah,
So teach them about sportsmanship and stuff
true.
like that. And I don't let them win either. Just let y'all know that I give them a run for their money because they
Yeah,
don't hold back on me.
I think so. It's
They can
actually,
be brutal.
especially especially boys, and also boys need to sweat. So they need
Yeah.
to sweat it, to sweat whatever it is. They need to sweat it out. They could, I don't know, go for a
Yeah,
run.
and we have so many like games that we play that, require
Yeah,
strategy, those critical thinking skills.
yeah,
So that's a way that we integrate that
yeah.
into their lives. So I need to actually take a step back and make some more time because I haven't done that as much as I used to. So,
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. I mean, I get it. Could be like, even me, I'm trying to have like time to play with Aiden. We got like a badminton thing to play together. So, and then we also got like taboo and Scrabble. So we're trying to make like,
love those. Girl, when
yeah.
I see you, it's on. It's
So,
on like Papa John. I love some Scrabble.
so we're trying to do that like on Saturday evenings. So it's like game night Saturday evenings.
Hmm.
So yeah, we go play the badminton. Oh my God, like 10 minutes in, I'm sweating, and Aiden is like, "Why are you sweating?" I'm like, "Oh my God," like, it's for me. It's now becoming. I get tired a bit fast as compared to now. He's like very energetic, so it keeps me on my toes. So I think at the end of it all, I'm like, oh, to be honest, I'm done. This is too much. But for
You
him,
know,
is keep
and you know
going.
the other thing we do, put together puzzles.
I've
So
had
we'll have
I've seen those.
puzzles and do that. We have this whole system, and I know I can't be the only one because I've seen people on the Tiki Talkie do it. You know, where we have like you get out, you get the ending, the outer pieces, and then you work on the inside. But we'll even color categorize the inside pieces, so then we can know about where they go.
That's
And
fun.
so my son likes the organizing. He doesn't like so much putting the puzzle together. My nephew loves and will sit there with me like this to put the puzzle together. My son just likes to organize. And that's okay. Chris used to sit there with us and do it, but he's been so much busier now, he hasn't had a time to do those kind of things. So, but
Yeah.
that's really a lot of fun that we like to do as a family as well.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I know sometimes I know things just get in the way. Like last weekend, I couldn't play I think on Sunday because I was doing my newsletter. And then by the time I realized I'm done, it's late. So I couldn't go to the rooftop to play. So sometimes life gets in the way. But then I need to make like a very conscious decision, like no matter what, I need to do this with him because life,
And
um,
then they grow up so fast, and before we know
yeah,
it, they're out of our hands and into the world. And
yeah, soon you will go, and then I'll be like, you know what, I wish I spent those times playing with him.
right,
So, yeah, I think it's good to take up those opportunities and let
yeah.
them go.
And I also, I go into my son's room often unannounced, to see what's being done on his computer, see who he's talking to. So I do this quite often. So I know what he's up to.
Mm,
And he plays with the same couple of people. One of them is his very best friend, who he's been friends with since kindergarten, but lives up in Tennessee. So he keeps in contact with him, and so that's also important, is seeing what your children are doing, what they're and asking them. Oh, what were you looking up on the tube of the U? Or uh, what games were you playing today? Oh, who did you talk to? Who did you see?
yeah.
We got to take that time as parents to ask these questions, and ask open-ended questions, not, did you have a good day? That's a closed-ended question. They yes or no. Instead, ask, what did you like most about your day today? Or what did you like the least about your day today? Asking questions like that too, um, to get them in the present and to think.
Mm,
I know a lot of teenagers nowadays are wanting to go, I don't know, what'd you eat for lunch? I don't know. Dude, that was like 2 hours ago. What do you mean you don't know?
yeah, they don't want to talk.
Yeah, yeah. So just opening up that communication, and getting them to talk, and just being aware of what they're doing on the technology side, as well as the in-person side, you
Yeah,
know, asking
yeah,
those questions, being a present parent.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Love that. Okay. So let me go to the questions.
Questions of the week.
Questions. Oof, this one not loading. Please, okay, it's loaded. Um, my son got accepted into his number one school, and this is the top university in the country at his chosen discipline. Um, he's got the grades and the brains, and already has enough automatic scholarships to cover half tuition. without even applying for any yet. This university is number one public uni for value, cost of tuition compared to average salary after graduation. He's been all in until his girlfriend started in on him about moving away. It's only 2 hours away from our hometown, so I reminded him that they could realistically spend each weekend together. He's thinking about throwing all that aside and going to our local uni, which doesn't even have a program for what he wants to do. Once he found out that he's been saying, once he found that out, he's been saying he's changed his mind anyway and doesn't want to be an engineer after all. I'm at a loss. I can't make him go to one school over the other, but I know him and I know her. We've had Dad and I been looking forward to them getting some distance because she's very codependent and doesn't give him the space to grow, change. I don't really need want or need advice. I just had to get it off my chest. He's not an adaptable kid, so I'm afraid this one hurdle, if and when he gets to the local uni, will have him majoring in something he doesn't like and paying more for school and doing it twice because he switches majors. Yeah. The son is how old? I don't know. Maybe 19. There's no age here because he's going to uni. I'm assuming he's 18, 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's a tough one. I mean, so this person isn't wanting advice. As a parent, it's even hard to say because I'm not in that situation, you know? You're like, on one hand, I mean, they're correct. You can't make them because technically they're an adult and it is their decision. Does it suck to see, things going a different way? Yeah. It's difficult to tell someone or to communicate with someone who is in a relationship that, I mean, if it is what they're saying it is and that the girlfriend's really codependent, then he's already behaving in a way as the enabler of a codependent, which is if there is a huge pink 10-foot elephant in the room defecating on the carpet, the enabler is going, hey, don't look over there, look at me. Hey, don't look over there, look at me. And that's what they do in the relationship. So honestly, if he's not willing, if he's not able to look at the situation as it is, there's not a lot that you as a parent can do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That just stinks. Oh, I mean, because you know what? He has to want to make a change and he has to want it, and it sounds like he doesn't. So honestly, at this point, as an 18-year-old, which is technically an adult, even though they still are babies, sometimes you have to watch them gracefully fall. And
I was thinking the same. I think one of the things my former CEO taught me was sometimes you let people fail. You see them, they are going to fail, but you let them fail. Because especially when it comes to matters of the heart.
yes, yes,
And it's unfortunate because I can see how this script will turn out. He will do some major that is going to get him into probably loans, or like he's going to accrue in student loans. And then you probably think he's in love, ends up marrying this codependent girl who will, down the line, will be, like, I don't think the two of them would end up for long because it's almost like an unhealthy relationship. Because Cecilia, I would say if my man if that was my man, I'd tell them, you know what, let's do long distance because you have better prospects in this other school. Like you're going to become an engineer, better prospect, better job prospect. Like go do that because I know that even solidifies our future. But I don't think she's that kind of a person. And she says, yeah, she's
Well, and
going.
that's Cecilia in her 30s. That's not Cecilia at 18. And so that mindset and the growth mindset yet of her is not thinking that way. It's still a very selfish. And I'm not saying that there's not any 20, 30, 40-year-old women out there that are selfish and would do the same thing, you know, and go, oh, don't, please stay with me. There are. But more especially her age right now. And I'm not saying that there aren't 18-year-old girls, women who, you know, are mature enough to go, hey, no, go ahead. I'm okay. They're there too. Okay. I'm not saying that. But this particular incident, you know, she's not at that place. And if he doesn't make up his own decision on what he wants to do, he's become resentful toward parents. Whereas, okay, you're making this decision, even though I know as a parent that it's not the best for you, you know, he's going to have to sleep in the bed he made. So he's going to have to deal with, you know, whatever happens in this relationship. And if he later goes, oh, mom, why didn't you make me go to the university? I had it all set up. Hey, that's on you. That was your decision. Right? It doesn't mean he can't go to that uni later if he so well decides to. And yeah, he probably won't have all the perks he has now, but he's still able to go do these things. But you can lead a horse to water, you can't force him to drink.
Yeah.
Is what it boils down to.
Yeah, I'm saying if I was in this same situation, I would be like, okay, so these are the two outcomes these are the outcomes. The first thing is if you go to the university that you're going to do your engineering course, you're going to end up with better job prospects. You're not going to end up with student loans that people are actually struggling right now to pay. And give him examples of how now he's going to hit his salary. If then that is the first choice, and then you get better job prospects, and then you're able to take care of your girlfriend and family if you plan to have that family. And how long does it take? It takes you I don't know if it takes 4 years, I don't know this how long it's gonna take. So it's 4 years of sacrifice, and it's not just 2 hours away. It's not like you are 8 hours away.
Right.
It's 2 hours. That's something you can actually work out. The other option that if you're going to go this decision where you're going to go to this other place, you go with her and you know, give him how that is likely to turn out and tell him, so it's up to you. I know that's how it's going to turn out because based on my experience. So it's up to you. Go figure it out on your own. Whatever decision you'll make, it's a decision you need to be very much okay with the consequences, because there's going to be consequences for
Either
both.
way. Mm-hmm.
Either way, there's going to be consequences. One of the consequences could be you're going to lose her if you go to the other school, obviously, because of the long distance stuff. And the other one is like, you know, this, you know, pros, cons. Sit down, even if you need the guidance, write down the pros, cons for each of the of the decision is about to make. Write down the pros,
And
write down the
just
cons.
piggybacking off of what you're saying right there is have them write it down. Don't just talk about it. Have it write it down
So you sit
so they
down,
can.
write it down together. Decision A, if I do this is likely to happen, pros, cons. Decision B, pros, cons. Then be like, yeah, and then there's something I think I look back to is the book, The Alchemist. This guy goes, we are going to have so many love stories in our lives. There's a lot of love stories, but then you choose just one person to spend the rest of your life with, or one person to build a life with. Anyway, so this book has Santiago. Santiago is going to look for treasures in Egypt. And he has to go on this journey, and the journey is through the desert. But Santiago, before he embarks on the journey for his they call it personal legend, his big dream, they call it your purpose, for his purpose, because his purpose is for him to actually go and get those treasures that he needs to get. So as Santiago meets Santiago meets a chef, a merchant's daughter, and the merchant's daughter is beautiful. And Santiago is like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. You know what? I'm going to spend this 1 year getting a lot of sheep. He's a shepherd. Get a lot of sheep, and then see if I can come back the next year, because he goes to sell the wool of the sheep to the father of this particular beautiful girl that Santiago is falling in love with. So at this point, Santiago goes back. No, he didn't go back, but he lives with that in mind. Like, oh, you know what? For me to marry her, I need to be well off, right? So it's like 1 year I'll see her again because I'll go back. No, I'll go back with more sheep and I can, try woo her and get her father's approval for marriage. And during that period, he now meets someone who tells him, you need to go, you have a purpose, you need to follow your purpose. And Santiago is still thinking of that girl, the merchant's daughter. He's still thinking of that girl. And he's like, yeah, Lord, now this is an opportunity for me to go get the treasures. Then when I come back, I'll come back bigger, more than. So he sells his sheep and embarks on his journey to go to his personal legend, his purpose. And in the desert, now the desert is where now it's now the culmination. That's where the desert is like when you start on your journey, you get to a point where before the light, there is darkness. So the desert is where there is the most challenges for Santiago. So in the desert, he meets another girl called Fatima at the well. This point, I don't know, Santiago has already forgotten about the merchant's daughter. You see, he's now met Fatima and he's falling in love with Fatima, and now he's like, Fatima is the one. And then I'm asking myself in the book, Santiago, have you forgotten about the merchant's daughter that you want to go back to? Like, he's forgotten. He never speaks about the merchant's daughter again. Now his obsession is with Fatima, the lady of the desert, and Santiago is obsessed with her and is like, she makes me, he went to a point where he's like, I have what I've been looking for. She's probably my treasure. I want to settle with her. I don't need the other treasure that is in Egypt. I don't need it. Then I think as he goes through, self-reflection, he realizes, even if I stay with Fatima, and he's told this by the alchemist, that you will stay with Fatima. If you decide you're not going for this, for your treasure, to fulfill your personal, what is it called? Purpose. If you're not going for your purpose, just know this: you will settle with Fatima. You will have a beautiful life because you are rich now. Because he's already amassed a lot of wealth during the journey. You are rich now. You can actually settle down with her. But just know down the line, you'll always question, what if? What if I had not made decision? And Fatima will feel it. Fatima will feel your distance. She will feel you are not you are not the same person, and you will try to mend that relationship, but there will always that thing in your mind, what if I had proceeded to go to get to what I'm supposed to do? And then that's when he made the decision, you know what, I'm gonna go. And Fatima actually tells him, you need to go fulfill your purpose. Go fulfill your purpose. I will be here waiting for you. If we were meant to be, you will be back, but you will find me here. You can see even Fatima is not the codependent person that this guy has. This guy has a girlfriend who's codependent, which is so sad. But anyway, and he goes, he gets the treasures, he comes back, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful story that shows us that in life you'll meet many people you'll fall in love with, but they're not necessarily the one you should settle with. I think the one
Yeah.
I think along the line, if it sees the person, he will still come back to them. And it's the same way that Santiago forgets about the merchant's daughter, and now his new obsession is with Fatima. And I wish probably this 18-year-old or 19-year-old boy would read that story and just get a feel of, how life is. But then again, it's okay if he decides, I'm gonna go this way. But he says that his son is actually very smart. He might go that way, fall, and still come back to who he was, and he'll be fine. But
It goes back to that whole saying, if you love something or you love someone, set them free.
yeah,
If it's meant to be, they will come back. But even him, reading that or thinking about that at the age, is he able to? Because right now he is in this situation, so he has his blinders on, so he can't see either
yeah,
way here.
that is
He can't really
blind.
see what's down here. He can't see what's here in his brain, and he can't see anything past his nose.
I
So,
know.
I mean, he's
One love.
boxed in, and all you
Yeah,
can do is, I like what you say, put down the pros and cons, sit down with them and go, as parents, I support you in your decision. Let's weigh the pros and cons, and this is ultimately your decision. And you have to live with the choices you make.
yeah, consequences. As you make your bed, so you must lie on it. And I think about this most of the time. And I think about this, Kim, when I'm going through situations and I'm like, isn't this the bed I made? Let me just lie on it. And I was telling that to my friend. When you make decisions in life, when you are happy, like when you decide, you know what? And I think it's a thing that I was thinking, oh, so I decided I'm going to be in a long distance relationship. This is the bed I made. So I must lie on it. I must face the consequences. I've come to a point where I'm like, even if you make bad decisions at our age, you need to be like, okay, this is a bad decision I'm making, but let me just know that when the consequences come down the line, I am ready to embrace them and say, you know what, I made this decision to do this. I will not become a victim once I have to face the particular consequences that the decision I made is going to bring. Because every decision you make has consequences. Every decision. And let's embrace, be like, it was my decision.
Yes.
It was my decision. So I'm gonna embrace the decision that I made and be like, yeah, that's it. So it's okay that it's fine that he tells his son, be ready to lie on that
Right.
bed. It's your cat.
Right. Sorry, my printer is doing something. I did not
Oh,
turn
I
it
thought it
on.
was your cat. I was like, what?
No, I'm like, it scared me because it should be off, and I don't know, I don't know what's going on, and it scared me, and then it kept going, and it's still going, and I don't know what's going on.
It's a ghost.
Nothing's
It's a
coming out of
ghost.
it.
It's a ghost.
Bite your tongue.
The
I
room
don't, I
is
don't, I don't, I'm gonna look real quick. I don't know.
okay.
I, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, your
What
room
the
is going.
hey?
Sorry.
It's doing something. I don't know what. I didn't do nothing.
Hey,
So I
God.
don't know if y'all can hear that, but sorry.
Yeah, but I can't hear anything. I didn't hear
Okay, okay. Yeah, no, cats are definitely not allowed in this room. You see all
Yeah.
this stuff? None of this stuff would be on my shelves if there was any cats allowed in here. So no. And the dogs are not allowed in here. Definitely not, because Elliot eats everything.
And
Let
what
him outside to
happened?
go potty yesterday, and I was like, well, what is he doing? I couldn't see him. And then I see he has a leaf in his mouth. He eats the leaf.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like, that
everything.
does not taste good. There's no way.
Probably trying to be.
So it's like having a toddler. You wait till you see. Elliot's a stinker. So
Oh,
he's definitely not allowed in here. Because he
yeah.
thinks he's a big dog, almost 100 pounds, thinks he's a little chihuahua and wants to get in your lap. And that's how I get these bruises on me. That's from the dog.
Wow, that's bad.
That's from the dog jumping on me. and he's been getting better. And he's like 3 years old, but
Mm.
let me tell you this,
He's still young. He's still a young. He's a teenager now.
girl.
Oh,
If he
yes.
gets any more teenager, he needs to stop. He needs to stop because when his other sibling, first sibling, Heath is not here, and my nephew's not here, he's even more needier and will sit there and just bark at you because he wants
Mm.
constant attention.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
constant attention. It is,
yeah. I
uh,
would
I love
understand
him, but
too much.
he's a bit much sometimes.
And I guess
And that's my brother and Circo's dog. So
yeah, I guess that's why people like cats. Some people like cats because cats are like not
they
never
just do whatever. They're usually
yeah,
chill.
not in your
Yeah,
face.
yeah.
But to be honest, I'd prefer dogs because I like something that's a bit hyper and something I can hug. Not the cats are like
No, my cats are actually lovable.
ah.
So I
Those are
always say
good.
they're broken. They're two males and they're litter mates, so they're brothers, so they're from the same litter. And I always say they're broken because they don't do normal cat stuff.
Oh.
Like usually, they do a little chirping thing when they see birds outside or something, which is like a they make like that sound.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Mine don't. Mine don't. They'll get up there and they'll look and they don't make, and I miss that because that's such a cute sound. And they'll look and their tails go. What else do they not do? They let you pick them up and fuss over them, especially. So Maui is my son's cat. Norris, or I call him Chunk Norris, is
Mm.
my cat, and Maui will just let you pick him up, and he's like a rag doll. He just goes like this, and he's like, okay, whatever, do whatever you want, and yeah, you can kiss and fuss all over them. They're really sweet boys. I have a picture of him sitting. My son's doing school. Maui sits in his lap and lets him. He's like a purr factory, and lets him sit there and pet him like the whole time. So she got a phone call or something happened. So it's just us. I don't know if y'all have any animals out there, but I love animals, not just cats. I love all animals. Just full disclosure out there, I love animals. So just waiting for her to get back.
Yeah, see my life. How did I end? How? I know the screen normally freezes. Was I like, huh?
No,
Hello?
you were totally dark screen.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, anyway,
It
yeah.
said it said live paused, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit here. After I finished
Yeah.
saying what I was saying, I was like, awkward.
It's the cab driver was calling me. Anyway, yeah. Anyway,
Ah,
yeah. So talking about cats. Yeah, anyway,
yeah.
yeah. Previously, we were
But
talking about
I love animals. I love all animals. So I just put that out there.
yeah.
Yes. And our boys are actually super sweet, and male cats tend to be more sweet and loving than female cats. And I used to always have female cats.
Oh,
These
just
just kind
like
of, yeah, these just kind of came. Actually, my brother got these cats for my son and I as a present. So
yeah, yeah.
he loves us. And they're the best little boys ever. And but no, I love all animals. Obsessed with animals. Love them.
Yeah, personally, I don't think I've never had a pet, and it's okay for someone else to have a pet because I've actually cat sat my friend's cat, And that's why I knew like cat, but she's female. That's why I knew that cats are just nodes because they don't want to be touched, hug. Okay, yeah, touched here you can like, and then they purr, but then like hugging and all that shit, like they don't want. I'm like, ah,
No, not all
yeah,
cats though. Like I
yeah.
said,
So I guess this is
you know,
different.
Maui spends a lot of time on James's lap while he's in school, purring up a storm, getting pets, and he's been like that since he was a kitten. So,
Yeah.
um, not all cats are like that. I will say that. These two boys we have, mine doesn't necessarily like to be held, he will, but you can sit there on the floor and pet him till
Yeah.
his hair falls off because he likes pets on his belly and everything, both of them. You can pet both of them on their bellies, their backs. There's not one place on their body. They won't snap at you. They've never bitten anybody. They're not like that. They are just the most chill two boys, I mean, kitties that we've ever had.
Okay, lovely.
So,
That's,
yeah, yeah. You know what? I also like birds. My
yeah,
brother's like, oh, those are so gross. Those are so disgusting. My grandmother used to have birds, and they were parakeets, and she had other ones, and she actually taught them so they can speak. And so they were bilingual. They spoke English and German.
mm,
So they're super cool. And that's where I started to really like after she unfortunately passed away. I had to help take care of her bird Peter, and that's where I really began to like birds. So, but they're a
mm,
big commitment. I mean, because especially like African grays and parrots, they last and they live a very long time. So they are a lifetime commitment. I mean, so are dogs and cats, but
yeah, I
you
know.
know, and my son is very good. He cleans out the litter boxes, he feeds them, waters them. He does all that stuff because that was one of our deals is that when we get a pet, you have to be responsible and take care of your
Mm,
pet, you know, because these are the things that come along with it. And like I said, you know, my son's really good about cleaning up. He has his chores he does. The last thing I got to get down is, you know, this laundry, which he's just about there doing his own laundry, and then
mm,
getting him better on cooking and being comfortable around because we have a gas stove. So
yeah,
that can be a little intimidating
yeah,
um, because of the flames. So but he's done a lot and he's
yeah.
willing to, so that's good.
That's good because there's research that shows that children who actually engage in chores, like giving them chores, actually helps in their self-esteem as they are adults. I don't know how.
He even
Just
does this when we go to my friend's house.
yeah,
So it's not just here. He'll continue this and do what he does here. You know, we go stay at my friend's house and visit her. Um, so that's also good. Makes me a very proud mama
yeah. I love
because
that. That's
I don't prompt him to do it. He does it on its own. So I'm like, oh, it's my boy.
very well behaved.
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
he has his moments. So, like, he is an absolute blessing. Love him to pieces. You know, he's still a teenager and he has moments that, but he's a very approachable, can sit down and talk with and open, you know, these discussions. He's very good about that. So, I am truly blessed with him.
Amen. Love that. Okay, so this is not a question, it's more of like a proud moment. What was the most recent moment your teen did? What was the most recent moment your teen did that had you to be proud of them? All of last week and Monday, Wednesday, my teen girls, stepdaughter and daughters, went with my father to help do cleanup work with those still affected by the hurricane, and my stepson with his brother went with my husband to learn the trade of becoming an electrician like their father, with my husband's boss giving the okay that if the boys want to learn the trade since school is closed for the foreseeable future, it's okay with him. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I don't feel we get to hear those stories enough. News and other outlets are always fast to report on the negative sides of humanity. and children and so on. So it's nice to hear these positive situations that are occurring with our teenagers and our children.
People are doing amazing things. My 17-year-old just got her driver's license. She's also started volunteering at the VA and at the temple
Oh,
school. I don't know what VA is.
the veteran affairs. So the veterans. Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah.
I did volunteer work as a teenager too. My aunt had worked in a nursing home, and I went in during summers and volunteered, and I'd help the activities director, and it was very difficult because I get very attached
Uh-huh.
and to people, and it was sad in one aspect to see that people would put their loved ones in a nursing home and never came to see them, and they just kind of washed their hands of it. So that was sad. At 15, I just couldn't understand that. And then the other thing is, one of them passed away. That was very, very hard and
Oh,
difficult to go through, but I love doing it. Um, it was a lot. And I think, a lot of people in general would get a lot out of life, doing some volunteer work here and there. And, like you brought up here in the United States, we could need all hands on deck because the hurricanes are hurricaning. And then not only do we have Helene, we have Milton. While yes, it didn't hit as a category 5, which they thought, which was catastrophic, but still it hit as category 3 right after Helene. And even if Helene didn't hit, category 3 still does a lot of damage in its path. And so there's a lot of help that's being needed in Florida, and then from Helene still, and up, in North Carolina, those areas, there's still a lot of people that are without
mm,
basic needs.
mm.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, anyway, it will pass too. So let me ask the last question here.
Okay.
Serious, serious question. Some parents in my area seem to be so concerned with with their teenagers having everything. Total consumerism. A kid in my daughter's school just got a brand new $50,000 car for his 16th birthday. Nicer than the car either parent drives. That's insane,
I,
right? If I was going to get my 16-year-old a car, I'd buy myself the new car and give her the hand-me-down. Not only did they buy this for their son, they posted it all over social media. The world has to know, right? That's how they are writing here. That's just an example. Lululemon, everything, that's seriously more expensive than my own clothes, and I have a good job. These teens don't have part-time jobs. Some of the girls seem to babysit every now and then. I highly doubt they're buying all of this stuff themselves. They are in a gazillion extracurriculars, which is also expensive, but it exposes them to other well-off kids. Okay, and they all seem to travel together from activity to activity. My neighbors put in a beautiful in-ground pool. It's amazing. I saw it and congratulated them on how nice it turned out. Their response, well, my girls wanted to have pool parties, with a laugh. Okay. Now, in an in-ground pool is a nice investment in our area, but is that a good reason for your teen daughters to have pool parties? Is there a guidebook I never got, like what to buy to make sure your kid is popular? Question mark. The point of this post is to vent. I know I need to mind my own business. I think you do. Anyway, let me proceed. I don't say anything to anyone in my area about this. I also really don't need to get off social media. I also really need to get off social media. I see these things, purchases, and realize how different I am from the people in my community. My oldest 15 daughter thinks this stuff is funny. She herself said the 50K car was a stupid purchase. She consigns for Lulu stuff and she's saving up for her own car. She gets the ridiculousness. But my youngest daughter is constantly asking for these things. In my parenting journey, there seem to be many, not all parents who are so invested in their offsprings being popular. They'll stop at no expense to ensure this happens. Are the parents in debt? Question mark. I wonder how these kids will turn out. Grateful, entitled, lacking values, lacking fiscal responsibility. Those are questions he's asking. But that's it. That's it.
I I think there is some maybe internal work she needs to do on herself, to have this so hyper focused on this and her neighbors. Like there are some things that she needs to check within herself why it bothers her so much, because to each their own. So obviously, if these people have the money to do this stuff, so for them that's not a big deal. Would I do any of this stuff in my thing? I don't know. I don't have that amount of money, first of all. But second of all, it's not my kids. It's not my money. Are these things nice? Sure. And we're also making, assumptions that the kids take things for granted, don't care, or might be this way, and you don't know. We can't do that. We can't project our feelings onto them, and that's what a lot of this sounds like, is projection. And okay, would I want to do all these things and just give my kid? At this point in my life and today and where I'm at, I'd say no. I mean, does my kid have and my kid doesn't want or anything? Yeah. Do I have money to get him a $50,000 car? No. Would he expect or want me to do that? Absolutely not. We're just in a different life, they're in a life where they can afford these things. And yeah, she says, well, my kids wanted this to have pool parties and such, but the ultimate decision was the parents' decision, because the parents had the choice to say, yes, I will do this, or no, I won't. Kids can ask for whatever they want, but it's ultimately on the parents who are funding these extravagant gifts. So to each their own, is what I say,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I think that's where social media comes in. How people in social media have the thing where there's the comparison, which I
Oh
actually
yeah.
totally understand. Like, yeah, you see people post something and you're like, oh my God, I wish, And the thing is, I mean, let's say I'm a millionaire, right? And a 50K car is nothing for me to buy my daughter. If that is, because they are turning 16 and probably 17, they now have or my son, like they can drive. Like, if I'm rich, like, why would I buy a Honda Civic when I can afford a 50K car for my child? I'll probably buy that for them. The other thing is, I think it's more of being jealous. There's a bit of envy from what she's written. And it stems from that aspect of comparing your life with the other person. And the aspect also where she's saying that the oldest, her daughter, finds this stuff funny. So she herself said the 50K car was a stupid purchase. It really is not a stupid purchase if you have the money. It's not. We don't know their financial standpoint. You don't know their financial. If
Well, I
they have
mean,
money, why is that
her
a
time of
stupid?
this. Well, I mean, so, and I think in their reasoning of this is thinking it's their first car. Okay, kids just learning and getting their license to have such an expensive car to start out with, um, seems outlandish. Uh, But if
Outrageous.
you have money I mean, that's just a drop in the
Disposable.
bucket. It probably doesn't matter to them.
So,
But they did say that that $50,000 car is more expensive than the ones that the parents even have. So to that, I can see where they're like, oh, well, why would you do that? And so she's questioning that doesn't make sense. Are they just doing it and buying it for their children for clout, for the popularity? So I think that's where she's coming in. As a parent myself, even if I had the money, and again, I'm saying this without having the millions of dollars, that I would not buy my kid a $50,000 car, because I just recently saw one of a friend of mine, on the Book of Faces, had gotten her child. Now, it wasn't a $50,000 car, but it was a very nice first car, and he wrecked it. Um,
But
uh,
what?
by not seeing a bright yellow fire hydrant. I mean, it totally wrecked the car. So that's where my thought process, whether I had the money or not, because money doesn't go on trees. I had to make that money. Um, and so for me, that would be difficult to spend so much money on something that's, uh, with a child just having a driver's license, being new,
Yeah,
because they make sometimes silly decisions. And I think that's where she's faltering. But again,
their money.
if that is a drop in the bucket for these people and they can afford it, to each their own. We don't have to understand that,
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, this kid wrecks a car. That's
yeah,
between them and their parents, not you.
and it's their money. Again, it's their money. It's not
Yeah,
like I need to start saying, why didn't you buy this instead of this? Now that's a bit. That's where I felt like, oh my god, this is where the envy is coming from, and I would not in any way ask. Okay, you see, I also have this problem with where parents start gossiping with their children. I
uh,
totally
yeah,
distrust that. And even our parents used to actually gossip with us, like, oh, have you seen that the daughter of this person, or have you seen the husband of this person? They have done this and that. Yeah, those are things I don't speak to your children about. Like, if
yeah,
they come to you and they say, oh, get me this because Lena got this. I want also the same thing because I saw her post on Facebook. Tell them in this life, it's your own journey. This, this is what I like. This is my capability. This is what I can actually give you.
right,
The way you're growing up is that you are going to buy your own first car. Their parents have actually bought their first car. We are Life is like that, totally, absolutely different. You need to understand that. And I think, as you said, for example, your son understands the same. Like, they will not come and say, demand, oh, I want a 50,000. They actually understand where you're coming from. So again, it's important that the children, face the realities of life. Like, you cannot be the same as these other
right,
people, and going to complain to them about how they're spending their money also
right,
raises, also, even them, they start getting these money limitations, because we grew up with parents who told us, oh, you don't have enough money, or there's no money, there's every time. So it's just in your subconscious, you are also dealing with scarcity mindset. You can even tell
yeah,
them, even you, one day you'll probably be able to buy your daughter a $50,000 car when they turn that age. Like, it's limitless. The world is limitless. You can do that for your daughter. Like, it's possible. If they can do it, then it means someone else can do it. You can do it. For me, I'm not in a position to do it. And it
right,
just brings me to the aspect also, when I was there's a time, my phone is an iPhone 11. So, where we live, it's actually quite, people living are actually rich people, wealthy, not wealthy, necessarily rich. So you find their children have better phones than me. Like, you'd find a child who's like just Aiden's age mate, the one they play with, has probably the same phone I have, or has a better model, like not even a better model, like a higher model. Or when the model comes in on their birthday, they get like an iPhone 15, iPhone 14. And there's that person, and my son is like, oh, he has an iPhone 15. And I'm like, yeah, that's good for him. Even you, one day you might buy for your son the iPhone 15, or your daughter. Like, it's possible. These things are actually possible. Like me going into, oh, that's not a good purchase, blah, blah, blah. That's not up to me. That's how they spend their money. They have the money. If I had the
let me
money,
tell you one person who does not have that. My son, he's still rocking his iPhone 8, which he's had for like 6 years, and refuses to upgrade or do anything. And I'm a-okay with that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm okay. Huh?
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that thing. Like if it's not broken, you don't need to actually
Yes.
fix it. So we live
Because
in a
it's
world.
damn expensive. You can't, I mean, it's like keeping up with the Joneses. Like, it's too difficult. It's too, but they don't make products to last like they used to. And
Yeah,
that's part of the problem. So feeding into that
consumer.
culture,
Yeah,
that consumerism, because the only reason I have an iPhone 15 is because my last phone on
broke.
me, and it was like a, what was it? It was like a 12, an iPhone 12. So it's not like it was old or had any other problems, but
Yeah,
all of a sudden it started acting up and the battery started getting hot and it started glitching and it was not good. And I had to, and that sucked. Let me tell you how much it sucked. It sucked so much because now I have to pay extra a month
yeah, to
and I
pay
don't
for.
want to,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
need
So
my
it's
phone.
So yeah, no, so it's important to actually teach our children that life is going to look completely different.
Yes.
You'll have people buying $50,000 cars, you'll have
Yeah.
people buying $10,000 cars, you'll have people buying $5,000 cars, and that's fine, right? That
And
is
you'll
life.
have some children who don't get any cars.
Yes, then there are people who don't have. I've never gotten my first car, never gotten it. Not yet
Yeah.
at my old age. Never had my first car, never. At my old
Mm.
age. And probably my son will have his first car when he turns 18.
Yeah.
Like, that is
Yeah.
probably what's gonna
That's
happen.
reality. Yeah.
And that is life. And probably like the people getting their first cars at 15, I'm like, my goodness, a $50,000 car at 15, my goodness, you must be very lucky. And that's life. Like it's going to look different for different people. And that's fine. That is the reality of life. We can never be the same. So comparing yourself with another
Yeah.
one is a problem. And then also the parents who contribute to the consumerism culture just to
Yeah.
make their children popular in school also is a problem. You're feeding, it's like you're feeding the lion that will one day eat you alive. So it's important that you look at the
Yeah.
intentions. Look at the intentions of
Right.
doing these things, because behind every intention is actually going to feed something in that child, and one day like they're ballooning and you're like, what the hell, what do I do? But you already fed that. So it's important that, yeah, if you have the 50K car you can buy your child, and if you feel truly that's what you want to do it. Maybe they actually deserve it. You don't know what this child had to do to
Right.
get. You don't know what's happening behind closed doors. So the thing
Exactly.
where I think we need to stop as parents is just to start comparing our children with other children, or comparing our family with other families, and talking about them, the decisions they made. I think that's their life, or they make the
And
decision theirs
and if
as
you're
well.
consuming your life with these thoughts, be curious with yourself as to why you
Yeah,
feel the need to do and consume your time, because that is your precious life you are wasting on somebody else that does not give a rat's butt about you, right?
that's
Because
true.
they're living their life. So live your life and worry about you and do you, because this is not directly affecting you. I mean, because whether it's this person, I know you say they said their youngest daughter is doing this. She's seeing this on social media and other places too, and so
Yeah,
this is just where we have to step up as a parents and have these discussions with them. Your other daughter, she's like, oh, this is crazy, and is more practical, it sounds like. So you're doing something right with your children. Um, and then with the little one, each of our children are not little clones. So they're going to have different personalities. So maybe there's a little something extra that you need to have discussions with your child when they come up. And, again, in a non-gossiping way, and leave the other people out of it and going, you know what? This is our life and our reality, and buying these things do not fit our budget. And it's okay. You
yeah,
have other nice things, open up that discussion.
yeah, true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Anyway, yeah, so that was the last question for the day.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So what's up this weekend? I've told you what I'm doing on Saturday. And then
Yeah, I have I just pick up my nephew this week on Saturday, so I don't have any. huge plans. I have some organization things coming in for my bracelets, so they'll come in tomorrow while I'm gone.
Yeah,
And I'm just making more bracelets and earrings. So just working, nothing fun. Well, I mean, it's fun for me,
yeah,
but I'm not going anywhere doing anything like, whoa, exciting or
yeah.
anything like that.
You're not dressing up for anything.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting dressed up to go do anything this week. And so I have a very boring life.
I mean, it's not that bad.
So, I mean, I got a nice house. I don't want to go out 24/7,
Yeah.
and I'm just busy doing things. So, uh, I'm thinking about going to see my friend at the end of October. So I'm playing with that idea to go do that for some time. And, uh, and I might actually bring some of my bracelets in because a lot of people know me there and hit them up and be like, hey, I'm here. I have my stuff. If you guys want to buy it, I'll stop by. So I could hand deliver stuff.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can even try opening a TikTok shop. I don't know. Never try that.
I
I
don't know.
need to.
I haven't tried that, and that might be, but I am definitely I have an Etsy that I'm opening. So I'll put it like a link tree in my account and do the Etsy shop. So you can just go over there. And so today I've got to take some photos
Yeah.
of my products so then I can post them on there for sale.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay then. So see you. What did you want? Shit. You wanted
You
my
do it
help.
today or do you want to do Tuesday?
Um Tuesday. Tuesday is fine. It's okay.
Okay. All
Alrighty.
right.
Okay.
We'll
Thank
do
you
it
so
then.
much, guys.
All right.
Okay, bye bye. Have a lovely weekend. Hopefully,
Yes.
yeah, we'll talk. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Say hi to everyone.
I will. Same.